First contact. The vast expanse of space had long been home to a thriving galactic community. Hundreds of alien species coexisted, traded, and occasionally squabbled across thousands of star systems. It was into this complex tapestry of interstellar relations that humanity made its debut. The day Earth's first faster-than-light ship emerged from the void near Proxima Centauri, it sent ripples through the galactic community. The Galactic Council, a loose confederation of the most influential species, convened an emergency session to discuss the newcomers. Zondar, the Arcturian representative, addressed the assembly. His crystalline form shimmered as he spoke. "We've observed these humans for centuries. They're a paradox, capable of great violence, yet also of profound kindness. Their technology is primitive compared to ours, but they've advanced at an alarming rate." Sinlai, the Syrian diplomat, flexed her tentacles thoughtfully. "We must decide how to approach them. Do we welcome them openly or keep them at arm's length?" The debate raged for days. Some argued for caution, citing humanity's warlike history. Others saw potential in the species' adaptability and creativity. In the end, they decided on a cautious welcome. A delegation was sent to Earth, led by Ambassador Kizoth of the Pleiades Confederation. As their ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, Kizoth felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. How would these humans react to their presence? The landing site was Washington, D.C., where world leaders had gathered to greet the alien visitors. As Kizoth emerged from the ship, he was struck by the diversity of the human representatives. Unlike many species that had evolved towards uniformity, humans displayed a wide range of physical characteristics. "Greetings, people of Earth," Kizoth began, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into human languages. "We come in peace, representing the galactic community." The human response was a mixture of awe, fear, and curiosity, emotions that Kizoth would come to associate strongly with the species in the years to come. Over the next few months, humans and aliens engaged in a flurry of diplomatic exchanges. Trade agreements were discussed, cultural information was shared, and the groundwork for Earth's integration into the galactic community was laid. What struck many alien observers was the speed at which humans adapted to their new reality. Within weeks, humans were eagerly learning alien languages, studying extraterrestrial technologies, and even volunteering for off-world assignments. Jenna Chen, a young diplomat from Singapore, became one of the first humans to join an alien delegation. She found herself aboard the Galactic Council's space station, surrounded by beings from across the cosmos. The hardest part, Jenna confided to her alien colleagues, isn't adapting to new environments or understanding alien concepts. It's conveying the full spectrum of human experience to beings whose biology and culture are so different from our own. This ability to bridge gaps, cultural, biological, and ideological, would become humanity's calling card in the galactic community. Where other species saw insurmountable differences, humans often found common ground. However, not all interactions were smooth. The Vrok, a militant species from a heavy-gravity world, viewed humans with disdain. "They're soft," growled Grakthor, the Vrok ambassador. "Their world has made them weak. They'll never survive in the harsh reality of galactic politics." Grakthor's words would be put to the test sooner than anyone expected. Just 6 months after first contact, a crisis erupted in a disputed star system near Earth. The Vrok and another species, the ethereal Zephyrians, were on the brink of war over resource-rich planets. The Galactic Council was deadlocked. Neither side would back down, and the threat of a conflict that could engulf multiple star systems loomed large. It was in this tense atmosphere that Captain Sarah Donovan of the Earth ship Endeavour made a fateful decision. Without authorization from Earth or the Galactic Council, she positioned her ship between the Vrok and Zephyrian fleets. "This is Captain Donovan of Earth," she broadcast on all frequencies. "We have no stake in this conflict, but we cannot stand by and watch it escalate into war. I propose a neutral meeting on our ship to discuss a peaceful resolution." Her action was met with shock from all sides. The Vrak were outraged at the audacity of this soft species interfering in their affairs. The Zephyrians were cautiously intrigued, and the Galactic Council was thrown into confusion by this unexpected move. As the galactic community held its breath, waiting to see how this bold human action would play out, one thing became clear: humanity's entry onto the galactic stage would be anything but boring. Back on Earth, news of Captain Donovan's actions spread rapidly. Opinions were divided. Some hailed her as a hero, while others feared she had overstepped and might provoke an alien attack on Earth. In the corridors of power, frantic discussions were held. How should Earth respond? Support Donovan's initiative or disavow her actions? As the debate raged, humanity found itself at a crossroads. Their next steps would define their place in the galactic community for generations to come. The universe watched and waited, wondering just what these unpredictable humans would do next. The diplomatic mission. The tension in the conference room aboard the Earth ship Endeavour was palpable. Captain Sarah Donovan stood at the head of the table, her posture rigid but her eyes alert. To her left sat Grak Thor, the Vrak ambassador, his scaled skin glistening under the ship's lights. To her right, the Zephyrian representative, Aura Lee, seemed to shimmer in and out of existence, her ethereal form barely contained by the ship's artificial gravity. "Gentlemen and beings," Sarah began, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We're here to find a peaceful resolution to this conflict. Earth has no stake in your dispute, but we cannot stand by and watch as war threatens to engulf this sector." Grak Thor's reptilian eyes narrowed. "You presume much, human. This dispute is beyond your understanding. The Vrak have claimed these worlds for generations, as have the Zephyrians," Aura Lee's melodic voice countered. "Our people have nurtured the gas giants in this system since before your species crawled out of the swamps." "Vrak." Sarah raised a hand, cutting off the impending argument. "The past claims are clear, but they conflict. What matters now is finding a way forward that benefits both your peoples without resorting to violence." For hours, the debate raged. The Vrak demanded exclusive mining rights to the system's rocky planets, rich in rare minerals. The Zephyrians insisted on maintaining their dominion over the gas giants, which they used for energy production. Neither side seemed willing to budge. As the talks threatened to break down, Sarah made a bold move. "What if," she proposed, "we looked at this from a different angle? Instead of dividing the system, why not share it?" Both alien representatives looked at her as if she'd grown a second head. "Hear me out," Sarah continued. "The Vrak excel at mineral extraction, while the Zephyrians are masters of energy production. What if you formed a joint venture? The Vrak mine the rocky planets, the Zephyrians harvest the gas giants, and you share the profits. You'd both gain more than you would from exclusive control of half the system." The idea was radical by galactic standards. Most species preferred clear boundaries and exclusive territories. But as Sarah laid out the potential benefits, both the Vrak and Zephyrians began to see the possibilities. It would require unprecedented cooperation, Grak Thor grumbled, but there was a glint of interest in his eyes. "And trust," Aura Lee added, her form pulsing with cautious excitement. "Yes," Sarah agreed. "But think of the example you'd be setting for the galaxy. This could be the beginning of a new era of interspecies cooperation." As the negotiations continued, word of the human-brokered talks spread through the galactic community. Many were skeptical, some were hopeful, but all were watching closely. On Earth, the response to Captain Donovan's actions was mixed. Some hailed her as a hero, while others criticized her for potentially entangling Earth in alien conflicts. The government was caught between supporting her initiative and fearing the consequences of failure. Admiral Chen, Sarah's superior, managed to establish a secure quantum link to the Endeavour. "Captain," he said, his holographic form flickering slightly, "you've stirred up quite a storm here. The Security Council is divided on how to proceed." Sarah straightened, preparing herself for a reprimand. "Sir, I understand I acted without authorization, but—" The Admiral held up a hand. "At ease, Captain. Your actions were unorthodox, but they may have prevented a war. The Council has decided to back your play. You have Earth's full support in these negotiations." Relief washed over Sarah. "Thank you, sir. I won't let Earth down." Grakthor, who had initially dismissed humans as soft and weak, found himself impressed by their tenacity and creative problem-solving. "You humans," he grudgingly admitted to Sarah during a break in the talks, "have a unique perspective. It is not without merit." Aura Lee was more effusive in her praise. "Your species bridges gaps we thought unbridgeable," she said, her form glowing with admiration. "You see connections where we see only divisions." As the negotiations entered their final phase, a sense of cautious optimism filled the Endeavor. The framework of an agreement was taking shape, one that would not only resolve the immediate crisis, but could serve as a model for future interspecies cooperation. But just as success seemed within reach, a new threat emerged. A radical faction of the Vrok, opposed to any compromise with the Zephyrians, launched a surprise attack on the negotiations. Alarms blared throughout the Endeavor as Vrok warships dropped out of hyperspace, their weapons charged and aimed at the Earth vessel and the assembled alien fleets. "All hands to battle stations," Sarah's voice rang out over the ship's comm system. "This is not a drill. Prepare for possible hostile action." As the crews scrambled to their posts, Sarah turned to Grakthor, her eyes hard. "Ambassador, call off your ships. Everything we've worked for is at stake." Grakthor's scales flushed with a mix of anger and shame. "These are rogue elements, Captain. They do not speak for the Vrok government." "Then help me stop them," Sarah insisted. "Show the galaxy that the Vrok are committed to peace." As tension mounted and weapons were primed, the fate of not just the negotiation, but possibly galactic peace itself, hung in the balance. The next few moments would determine whether humanity's first major foray into galactic diplomacy would end in triumph or disaster. Sarah Donovan stood on the bridge of the Endeavor, her mind racing through possible scenarios. She knew that the wrong move here could spark a war that would engulf not just this system, but potentially the entire sector. Yet, backing down wasn't an option. The eyes of Earth and the galaxy were upon them. As the rogue Vrok ships closed in, Sarah made a decision that would once again challenge galactic norms and showcase humanity's unique approach to crisis management. The Galactic Tournament. As the rogue Vrok ships closed in, Sarah Donovan made a bold decision. Instead of raising shields or charging weapons, she opened a channel to all ships in the vicinity. "This is Captain Sarah Donovan of the Earth ship Endeavor." Her voice rang out across space. "To the approaching Vrok vessels, we invite you to join us in these historic negotiations. Your concerns deserve to be heard. Let's talk, not fight." The gambit caught everyone off guard. The rogue Vrok ships slowed their approach, clearly uncertain how to respond to this unexpected olive branch. Grakthor, the official Vrok ambassador, seized the moment. He broadcast to his kinsmen, "Brothers, hear the humans' words. They offer us wisdom. Stand down and let us forge a future for all Vrok together." Tense minutes passed as the galaxy held its breath. Then, slowly, the rogue Vrok ships powered down their weapons. Crisis averted, diplomacy prevailed. The incident became a turning point. News of how humans had diffused a potential war spread rapidly across the galactic networks. Humanity's reputation for finding unconventional solutions to complex problems grew. In the months that followed, as the Vrok-Zephyrian agreement was finalized and implemented, humanity's role in galactic affairs expanded rapidly. Earth joined the Galactic Council as a probationary member, and humans were increasingly sought after as mediators and problem solvers. It was in this context that the Galactic High Commission for Cultural Exchange proposed an ambitious event, the first ever Pan-Galactic Olympic Games. The idea was to foster understanding and friendly competition among the diverse species of the galaxy. Each participating world would host events suited to their physiology and environment, with adaptive technologies allowing for cross-species participation. Earth was chosen to host the opening ceremony, a decision that filled humans with pride and trepidation in equal measure. As delegates from hundreds of worlds arrived in Earth orbit, the logistical challenges were immense. How do you accommodate beings that breathe methane, or exist as pure energy, or perceive time nonlinearly? Dr. Amelia Rodriguez, the chief scientist for the Earth Olympic Committee, worked tirelessly with her team to develop solutions. Each challenge is an opportunity, she often said, her eyes bright with excitement despite the exhaustion evident on her face. The opening ceremony was a spectacle unlike anything Earth had ever seen. The sky above the main stadium in New Beijing was filled with ships and beings of all descriptions. Holographic displays allowed spectators to see the proceedings from multiple perspectives simultaneously. As the Earth anthem played, Thomas Chen, the first human to set foot on an alien world, carried the Olympic torch into the stadium. The flame, burning with a mix of elements to make it visible to all known visual spectrums, was a symbol of unity and diversity. The games began, and humanity found itself facing challenges it had never imagined. In the low-gravity acrobatics event on Luna, human gymnasts competed against beings evolved for zero-G environments. Earth's champions had to rely on creativity and adaptability to hold their own. The deep-sea navigation challenge in Earth's Pacific Ocean saw humans using advanced submarines to compete against species that were essentially living spaceships, capable of withstanding enormous pressures. But it was in the mental disciplines that humanity truly shone. In the Pan-Galactic chess tournament, modified to include concepts from alien strategy games, a young prodigy from Nigeria, Adebayo Okafor, surprised everyone by advancing to the finals. Adebayo found himself facing off against Grandmaster Zixth of the Hive Mind Collective, a being composed of millions of interconnected organisms capable of performing complex calculations at unimaginable speeds. The final match lasted for days, broadcast across the galaxy. Adebayo, running on caffeine and sheer determination, played with a creativity that befuddled his opponent. He made moves that seemed illogical, even reckless, but always managed to turn the game in his favor at the last moment. In the end, exhausted but triumphant, Adebayo achieved a draw, a result that stunned the galactic community. No individual had ever held their own against a hive mind in a contest of pure intellect. As the games progressed, humanity's performance was a mix of spectacular successes and humbling defeats. They set no records in physical strength or speed, but their adaptability and teamwork allowed them to compete respectably in almost every event. It was in the final event, however, that humanity's unique strength truly came to the fore. The empathy challenge, proposed by the enigmatic elders of Altair, was unlike any other competition in the games. Participants were required to navigate a complex maze filled with holographic scenarios. The goal was not to reach the end fastest, but to make choices that resulted in the best outcomes for all beings involved in each scenario. Most species approached the challenge with their own cultural biases, often struggling to understand the needs and motivations of beings very different from themselves. The human team, led by Dr. Maya Patel, a renowned anthropologist, took a different approach. Instead of rushing through, they took time in each scenario to communicate, to understand, to find common ground. Their progress was slow at first, causing some commentators to write them off. But as they advanced, it became clear that they were achieving unprecedented outcomes, solving conflicts that the game designers had considered unsolvable. In the final chamber, the human team faced a scenario that mirrored the real-life crisis with the Vrock and Zephyrians. Drawing on their species' recent experience, they crafted a solution that left the holographic beings better off than they had been before the conflict. As Maya and her team emerged from the maze, exhausted but exhilarated, they were met with a stunned silence, followed by a growing wave of applause from beings across the galaxy. The Altarian elders, being so advanced they rarely intervened in galactic affairs, broke their silence to commend humanity. "In your young species," they announced, "we see a spark of something rare and precious. You have much to learn, but also much to teach." As the Pan-Galactic Olympics drew to a close, humanity found itself in an unexpected position. They had not dominated the medal tables or set many records, but they had earned something perhaps more valuable: respect. Across the galaxy, beings began to see humans not just as newcomers to be taught or primitives to be patronized, but as potential partners who brought a unique perspective to galactic civilization. But even as humanity celebrated its successes, new challenges loomed on the horizon. The games had raised Earth's profile, and not all the attention was positive. Some species saw humanity's rapid rise as a potential threat. As the Earth delegation prepared to return home, they were unaware that their greatest test was yet to come. A crisis was brewing that would challenge not just humanity, but the entire galactic order: the Zarkonian threat. As the glow of the Pan-Galactic Olympics faded, a new shadow loomed over the galactic community. Reports began to trickle in from the outer rim of the galaxy of a previously unknown species making aggressive moves into settled systems. They called themselves the Zarkonians, a highly advanced civilization that had remained isolated for millennia. Now, for reasons unknown, they were expanding rapidly, absorbing or destroying any worlds that stood in their path. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered in the Great Chamber on Alpha Centauri, the tension palpable as reports were shared. "The Zarkonians have already conquered 3 star systems," announced Sinlai, the Syrian diplomat. "Their technology is unlike anything we've ever seen. Our weapons seem ineffective against their shields." Grakthor, the Vrak ambassador, pounded his fist on the table. "Then we must strike hard and fast, gather our fleets and crush these invaders before they gain more ground." But Aurali of the Zephyrians counseled caution. "We know nothing of their motivations or culture. Perhaps peaceful communication is still possible." As the debate raged, Sarah Donovan, now an official representative of Earth to the Galactic Council, listened intently. When she finally spoke, the chamber fell silent. "We're approaching this the wrong way," she said, her voice calm but firm. "We're reacting out of fear, seeing the Zarkonians as a monolithic threat. But every species, no matter how alien, is made up of individuals. Before we commit to war, we need to understand who we're dealing with." Her words sparked a new line of discussion. It was decided that a diplomatic mission would be sent to the edge of Zarkonian space, while defensive fleets were positioned to protect vulnerable systems. To the surprise of many, Earth was asked to lead the diplomatic effort. "Your species has shown a unique ability to bridge gaps between vastly different cultures," explained the council chair. "We need that skill now more than ever." And so, a month later, the Earth ship Prometheus, a state-of-the-art vessel combining human ingenuity with advanced alien tech, set out towards Zarkonian space. Its crew was a mix of humans and representatives from other council races. Dr. Maya Patel, fresh from her triumph in the Empathy Challenge, was chosen to head the diplomatic team. Captain Elena Rodriguez, a veteran of numerous first contact scenarios, commanded the Prometheus. As they approached the border of known space, tension on the ship rose. Long-range scans showed a massive Zarkonian fleet ahead, its ships of a design so alien it defied easy comprehension. "Open a channel," Captain Rodriguez ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. For long moments, there was no response. Then, suddenly, a holographic image flickered to life on the bridge. The beam that appeared was unlike anything they had ever seen, a swirling mass of energy contained within a vaguely humanoid form. "I am Zarkon Prime." The being's thoughts resonated directly in their minds. "Why do you approach our space, creatures of matter?" Dr. Patel stepped forward. "We come in peace, seeking understanding. Your expansion has caused concern among the worlds of the Galactic Council. We wish to open a dialogue, to find a way for our civilizations to coexist." The Zarkon Prime seemed to pulse with an unreadable emotion. Coexistence. You cannot comprehend our nature or our needs. We expand because we must. Your matter-based worlds are fuel for our very existence. The implications of this statement sent a chill through the crew. The Zarkonians weren't conquering worlds. They were consuming them, converting matter into the energy they needed to survive. As Maya tried to formulate a response, alarms blared across the ship. Multiple Zarkonian vessels approaching, the tactical officer reported. They're charging weapons. Evasive maneuvers. Captain Rodriguez ordered. Get us out of here. The Prometheus turned and fled, barely escaping the Zarkonian attack. As they raced back towards Council space, the gravity of the situation became clear. This wasn't a conflict that could be solved through normal diplomatic channels. The Zarkonians' very existence was a threat to all matter-based life in the galaxy. When they reported back to the Galactic Council, panic ensued. Many called for an all-out war to destroy the Zarkonians before they could advance further. Others argued for the evacuation of border worlds, essentially ceding large portions of the galaxy to the invaders. But Sarah Donovan, listening to the debate, had an idea forming. It was risky, possibly even crazy, but it just might work. What if, she proposed to the council, instead of fighting the Zarkonians or running from them, we found a way to feed them? The chamber erupted in confusion. Explain, demanded the council chair. Sarah stood, her mind racing as she laid out her plan. The Zarkonians convert matter to energy, right? Well, our sun and every other star in the galaxy is already doing that on a massive scale. What if we found a way to harvest and store that energy, to create artificial stars that could sustain the Zarkonians without destroying inhabited worlds? The idea was met with skepticism, but also with hope. It would require unprecedented cooperation between species, the development of new technologies, and a leap of faith. But it was a chance for a solution that didn't end in galactic war. As the council debated, messages were sent across the galaxy, calling for the brightest minds of every species to come together. The fate of all matter-based life hung in the balance, and time was running out. Earth, the newcomer to galactic civilization, found itself at the center of the greatest crisis the galaxy had ever faced. The next few weeks would determine whether humanity's penchant for finding unconventional solutions would save the galaxy or doom it to unending conflict. Humanity's true strength. The following weeks saw a flurry of activity across the galaxy unlike anything in recorded history. The looming Zarkonian threat had accomplished what millennia of diplomacy couldn't. It united the species of the Galactic Council in a common cause. On Earth, every research facility, every university, and every tech company was working around the clock. The goal, to develop a way to harvest, store, and transport stellar energy on an unprecedented scale. Dr. Amelia Rodriguez, who had previously worked on adaptive technologies for the Pan-Galactic Olympics, found herself leading a team of the most brilliant minds Earth had to offer. They were joined by scientists from a dozen alien species, each bringing unique perspectives and technologies to the table. The challenge isn't just technical, Amelia explained during a global briefing. We're not just building a machine. We're creating an artificial ecosystem, one that can sustain energy beings on a galactic scale. As the research progressed, the Zarkonians continued their advance. Worlds fell, converted into pure energy to feed the ever-expanding Zarkonian collective. The defensive fleets of the Galactic Council fought desperate holding actions, buying time for the research teams to complete their work. On the front lines, human ships fought alongside alien allies. What they lacked in advanced technology, they made up for in adaptability and unpredictable tactics. Captain Alina Rodriguez, her ship Prometheus, now part of the defensive fleet, became known for daring maneuvers that repeatedly caught the Zarkonians off guard. But military action alone couldn't stop the Zarkonian advance. The fate of the galaxy rested on the success of Project Stellar Cradle, as the energy harvesting initiative had come to be known. 3 months after the project began, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Lai Wei, a young physicist from China, proposed a radical modification to the stellar harvesting device. By incorporating principles from ancient Chinese philosophy about the flow of energy, she created a more efficient and stable containment field. It's not just about the technology, Lai explained to the awestruck research team. It's about understanding the fundamental nature of energy itself, seeing it not as something to be contained, but as a flow to be guided. With this breakthrough, the project accelerated rapidly. Within weeks, the first prototype of the stellar cradle was ready for testing. The test site was a remote star system on the edge of Zirconian space. As the device was activated, everyone watched with bated breath. Would it work? And if it did, would the Zirconians accept this offering of peace? The stellar cradle hummed to life, its massive arrays unfurling around the star. Slowly, steadily, it began to harvest the star's energy, converting it into a form that the Zirconians could consume without destroying entire worlds. As the energy built up, a message was broadcast towards Zirconian space. Dr. Maya Patel, her voice steady despite the weight of trillions of lives resting on her words, spoke. People of Zarkon, we offer you this gift, a source of energy that can sustain you without the need for destruction. We seek not to change who you are, but to find a way for all of us, beings of matter and energy alike, to coexist in this vast galaxy we share. For days, there was no response. The defensive fleets remained on high alert, weapons primed, as they waited for any sign of the Zirconians' reaction. Then, finally, a massive Zirconian ship appeared near the stellar cradle. The swirling energy form of Zarkon Prime manifested before the gathered representatives of the Galactic Council. You surprise us, creatures of matter. The thoughts of Zarkon Prime resonated in their minds. In all our history, no species has ever sought to understand our needs, let alone find a way to meet them without conflict. The Zirconian ship extended a tendril of pure energy, connecting with the stellar cradle. As they absorbed the harvested stellar energy, the Zirconians pulsed with what could only be described as pleasure. This could change everything. Zarkon Prime communicated. We accept your offering. Let us discuss how we might forge a new future together. As news of the successful negotiation spread across the galaxy, celebrations erupted on countless worlds. The threat of galactic annihilation had been averted not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through understanding, creativity, and cooperation. In the aftermath, humanity found its place in the galactic community irrevocably changed. Earth became a hub of interspecies cooperation, with research teams from across the galaxy coming to work alongside human scientists and philosophers. The Stellar Cradle project expanded, with plans to create a network of energy harvesting stations that could support both matter-based and energy-based life forms throughout the galaxy. It marked the beginning of a new era of galactic exploration and coexistence. At a ceremony marking the first anniversary of the Zirconian Peace Treaty, Sarah Donovan, now serving as Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council, reflected on humanity's journey. We came to the stars thinking we were small, primitive, insignificant, she said, addressing representatives from hundreds of worlds. We learned that while we may not be the strongest, the fastest, or the most technologically advanced species in the galaxy, we possess something unique and valuable. She paused, looking out at the diverse assembly of beings before her. Our strength lies not in our muscles or our machines, but in our hearts and minds, in our ability to empathize, to see the world through others' eyes, to find connections where others see only divisions, in our creativity, our adaptability, our unwavering hope in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. These are the qualities that allowed us to bridge the gap between matter and energy, between the physical and the abstract. These are the qualities that, I believe, will continue to shape the future of our galactic community. As Sarah's words echoed across the chamber, beings of all forms, organic, mechanical, and energy-based alike, found themselves nodding in agreement. Humanity had proven itself not just as equals, but as essential members of the galactic family. The stars, once a distant dream, now represented not just humanity's future, but a future of unlimited potential for all sentient life. A future where understanding trumped fear, where creativity overcame conflict, and where the combined strengths of countless diverse species would propel them towards wonders yet unimagined. As the ceremony concluded and the representatives of the United Galaxy filed out, the sense of hope and possibility was palpable. The next chapter of galactic history was just beginning, and humanity was ready to play its part, not as conquerors or saviors, but as bridges, innovators, and dreamers. The universe, vast and full of mysteries, beckoned, and humanity, along with its new allies, was eager to answer its call.